So what you asked me? Give me a heads up.
We're on.
I'll be on, are we?
Yeah. Professor Mark Tucker, former Royal Marine, MMA fighter, Brazilian Jiu-jitsu Black Belt, instructor in Pakiti Tertia, Kali, JKD, wealth of experience, Combatives as well. Yeah. We've just done an hour of rolling with BJJ, and at the end I think you said something really important there about the sports side of it and the self-defense side of it, and how JKD kind of missed the opportunity that BJJ had, and maybe kickboxing and Muay Thai. So can you kind of expand on that a little bit, and then maybe show us a little bit of your way of doing BJJ, the pressure, self-defense?
Yeah, basically JKD's been around for an awful long time, and it exploded into the mainstream of the martial arts and all the rest of it, but basically through no fault of its own, I think it just got left behind a little bit, and then other arts appeared like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, MMA, and they were actually given a really fantastic platform to show their skills.
Showcase.
You know what I mean? Showcase their skills. But there was no platform for JKD. You know what I mean? And there were some really formidable instructors out there. You know, you've only got to look at Eric Post and Greg Nelson, Yuri Nakamura. I mean, all those people, fantastic martial artists, Ron Blakey, Rick Young. Yeah, you know what I mean? They're phenomenal martial artists. But there was just nowhere for them to showcase the art of JKD, but it was the predecessor to MMA, because you've only got to look at the first opening scene of Enter the Dragon, and Bruce Lee's wearing a nice pair of shorts, Kempo gloves, and he's got Samuel in the stocks and stuff like that.
Armbar finish.
Armbar finish, you know what I mean? So I think it is a case of the JKD world missed the boat when it comes to mixed martial arts and the explosion into the mainstream media, purely because it didn't have that live electric platform, because there was no real YouTube around at the time, there's no internet, there was no real TV coverage. So basically, I almost like to say like JKD came around 20 years too early, if that makes sense.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Before there was social media and all these types of things. That
there were some people that weren't like yourself, a JKD guy. There's Phil Norman.
Phil Norman,
who were kind of representing.
Lots of us have gone off. Phil Norman's fought. Woody's fought.
Woody,
myself's fought. Yeah. So there are people that have fought MMA. Eric Posen, Ron Blakey. All these people have done it, but there was just no real eye-stream representation of JKD, if that makes sense, and it became almost taboo, even though it wasn't taboo, to say you represented JKD, because in one of my early cage rage contender fights, I actually came in as a BJJ blue belt and JKD, but that was like so far back, back at the turn of the 20th century, a long time back, and there was no real people doing that, so it seemed a little bit tabooish to do it, so we just fell into the kickboxing, the BJJ realm, and then everybody started going off doing all the BJJ competitions and the MMA competitions, and it just got absorbed as MMA or BJJ or Muay Thai, and then JKD sort of got lost.
Sure.
And I think JKD is where the ability to express yourself as a martial artist, the concept and the idea came from, and I think modern day people don't see that, and I think we stand on the cusp of losing JKD.
It's a shame,
and it is a shame because it is dynamic and it is really, really effective. It's like I teach all the Jun Fan boxing arts in my school, but if I call it Jun Fan, my guys don't want it. But if I call it striking or whatever, they all want it and they think it's fantastic. But the moment I say, oh, this is Jun Fan, they go, oh, I don't want it. It's like Hubud. I recently put up a video of Greg Nelson teaching Hubud to Rosie.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Okay, and trying to express to my guys, it teaches you entries, sensitivity, and motion, all that type of stuff. And but the problem with that there is my guys don't want to do it because they see it as a stick fighting art rather than a concept to develop your own skills with empty hand.
Attribute building.
And I think that's where we're losing all this, and I think that's the shame behind how the world's evolving. And also because you've got things like money. People get paid money to endorse BJJ fights or MMA fights. You get promoters that want the best fighters. They're willing to pay lots of money. People are getting rich off the back of it. There's purses and stuff like that there. I think something exponential would have to come along to make JKD rise again. And I think, like in this country, we've got a few people, the Phil Normans, the Bob Breens, people like that there.
Good representation.
Rick Young's, all that type of stuff. You know, I mean, all these people, and the smaller groups amongst us that still do it under Rick Fay and stuff like that there, that want to try and keep it alive. But it's still, I don't think it's enough at the moment. Does that make sense?
Sure.
And I'm trying to go back to that way where I'm linking arts, and I'm going from striking arts into clinching arts, into trapping and moving around to the floor and stuff like that.
Sure.
And I'm trying to bring it back to make people realise you can link all these things together. It is MMA in its purity.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with studying jiu-jitsu. There's nothing wrong with studying Muay Thai or boxing or whatever you want to do, or judo or wrestling, to enhance your MMA, but I also think you should do that to enhance your JKD.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like if I want to get better in trapping, I'll go to a Wing Chun man.
Yep.
You know what I mean? If I want to get better at striking, I'll go to a Savate man or a Muay Thai man.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? Or a ground fighter. But why wasn't that really pushed, and why have we lost it? And it's only a small population in the world of martial artists that are actually still following the JKD route. And it's a shame. It is a shame.
It is.
So,
your terms of BJJ then, yours is very, I think it's fair to say, self-defense based rather than the sport side of it. I think you look at both.
I look at both. So what for me, I started BJJ purely and simply because I can remember a long time ago, before BJJ was around and BJJ started coming to the UK, it was actually Rick Young that said to me, you need to look at this. You know, and I can remember going to a seminar in Edinburgh, down in the Santo seminar, where Eric Postman was there, then Mauricio Gomez came in with Roger Gracie, and I think Roger Gracie just got his blue belt.
Right, okay.
So it was a long time ago. Yeah, a long time ago. And we got to see it. I didn't really know nothing about it as far as I was concerned. It was just judo and niwaza, because I did judo.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I mean? That's all I did was judo, because there was nowhere else you could go really for BJJ. And then I think it just exploded off the back of that, and we just got pushed in that direction because it was to enhance our JKD.
Yeah.
It wasn't to be a BJJ fighter.
Sure.
It was to enhance our ground aspect of our JKD, and that was all we did it for. And then all of a sudden it exploded into mainstream, and because we were already on the horse, you know what I mean, the horse went that way, and I thought, well, I will go and compete and see where I am in BJJ. But BJJ isn't MMA. I mean, it was not JKD, because they're both the same thing in that, but it's not the same because you're not getting punched while you're trying to do it.
Yeah,
you know, and I think that's why now all of a sudden BJJ has changed so much, because you do have all the leg locks and all those fancy submissions, because there's no risk of being punched in the face. Would you pull off a really cool fancy submission? I know, I'm not saying there aren't people that can't do that, because there are some exceptional athletes out there, but would you pull off a really cool looking submission if you can take the risk of being punched in the face?
I think you just made that point a second ago, just at the end of the class, didn't you, about breaking the guard?
Yeah, breaking the guard, yeah.
But you can't.
Yeah.
You've got to wait until you're open. Can you just demonstrate that for a sec?
So if you lay down. So if I'm in your guard, okay, I'm not going to waste my time posture not making space, because you can hit me, potentially. You know, you can cross-collar choke me. Okay, if I put my arm across there, you could potentially armbar me. Makes sense? So why would I put myself at risk? So why can't I just basically make myself nice and tight to your body, like that there, and then wait for you to do something?
And already the heaviness.
Yeah, the
is
heaviness.
already
Squishing into your hips.
Yeah.
And then basically you'll start trying to sweep me or moving around.
Sure, yeah.
And look, you've already opened your guard, and your guard's open. So I don't have to worry about trying to break your guard or putting myself at risk to break your guard.
I'm putting myself there.
Yeah. You know what I mean? You do it yourself for me. I don't have to do nothing. So it's like I'm surfing. I just sit on you. And what I also do as well was your hips go from your knees down to the smaller area, so it's wide at the top. So
I want to get high up.
Yeah.
And then
so what I do is I push my torso into that gap.
It just takes everything's now just going into me.
And I stay there. And that's where I want to be.
I feel my guard already opening there.
Yeah, so the moment you go to move or do something to me, your guard opens, and then I can basically take the opportunity to escape the position. Yeah. And that's where I want to be, because I always want to be on top. Like Chris Howard says, always be on top. If I'm on the bottom, do I want to be trying to do stupid guards or whatever? They're not stupid guards, I'll take that back. Guards that I wouldn't do. So, you know, I mean, they're only stupid because I wouldn't do them, if that makes sense?
Yeah.
I bet there's some really cool people out there who can do some really cool stuff. But I wouldn't do stuff like that, because I want to put my knee, I've already got damaged knees from judo. I wouldn't want to put my body at risk. And then I want something that's transferable. Should I end up in the street and end up in a situation, I want to be able to do something that's basically going to save me in that environment as well as this environment, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't want to put myself at risk and damage myself trying to do something which I wouldn't really do. And the concept of that as well is, if I train, even for a competition sport jiu-jitsu, and I train like that for that, when I come to self-defense, I haven't got to try and learn two aspects of BJJ. I just keep the same one, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense,
And you mean, and that's where I want to be with it. And I just want to be in a solid, compact position where I can control your hips, stop you moving. You then have to move your own hips, let you do all the work for me, and then hopefully you open your guard. I can then put all my weight on one of your legs and come around. I can control you, and then basically I get the control position, and we go from there. Yeah. So again, it's about minimal effort on my part. Does that make sense? I'm not saying that I'm lazy or people should be lazy. It's about that you don't know how long that fight's going to last.
Sure.
And if it's a split 30 seconds, great. If that fight, because the person's trying to get you and it tears up a little bit, you can be there, you can drag.
Yeah.
Even in a competition, you're looking at 5 minutes for a white belt, all the way up through 10 minutes for a black belt. It's tiring. Yeah. It's exhausting, you know what I mean? So it's very, very exhausting to that level of intensity all the time, and you will wear yourself out. And when you wear yourself out, you become vulnerable and you start making mistakes, and then you get caught. So I try to train as much as I can that way, purely and simply because I wait for my opponent to make the mistake, and then when I've got to a pin position, I'll pin them, and then they're trying to push me, they're trying to move. They start making mistakes because they're pushing, pulling, all that type of stuff, and then they start giving me their limbs, and then I'll attack their limbs if I can. And that's, some people may say my jiu-jitsu is boring. You know what I mean? I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about having exciting jiu-jitsu. I'm worried about having jiu-jitsu that works, efficient jiu-jitsu. You mean that's why I know like there's quite a lot of white belts in here tonight, but I'm not worried about the black belts or the brown belts sitting on my back and trying to choke me, because as far as I'm concerned, if they get me, good effort to them. At the same time, it's giving me the opportunity of escaping my worst position.
Yeah, yeah. You can just work it.
Yeah, we can all start in our really best position and go, look at me, I'm really good at this. But if you can start in the worst position, like somebody on your back with a rear naked on, and then escape it and do something back to them, that's a win, because then you're constantly training that position. That makes sense. So I like to start from weak positions, give my back, or get people to mount me or whatever.
And your bad positions become good positions.
And they become good positions. So if what would be perceived as a bad position becomes a good position, then it's a win-win. So that's how I like to do it. But I'm not saying my way is the right way, it's just the way I do it. You mean, I've been very fortunate. I've trained with a lot of BJJ guys, British and American, Brazilian. My actual coach is Brazilian. So yeah, I've been very fortunate to train with some world-class Brazilian jiu-jitsu guys who've all got different takes on it.
Sure.
But I've taken the bits that suit me, like using the old philosophy from JKD. Absorb what is useful, reject what is useless. You know what I mean? It's like I can't do some of the things that they do because they got the athleticism. Do you know what I mean? I've rode with some people and they've just been, their legs are everywhere. I'm like, what's going on? You know what I mean? I can't do that. You know what I mean? I'll put my back out. Do you know what I mean? So to me, that's what it should be about, and I think it should be an expression of yourself, not what. And I shouldn't be trying to replicate. I don't fight the same way as my instructor Pedro. I'd never be able to match what he does. He's younger than I am. He's more athletic than I am. He's more flexible than I am. He's fitter than I am. You know what I mean? He's got everything on his side compared to me. Better looking. Athletic. What am I doing this actually? Better dresser. You know what I mean? But yeah, so I can't match that. I really can't match it. So why would I match it? And then why would I try to match it? Because it won't suit me.
Sure.
And I've got a different way of striking. We all strike differently. We all trap differently. We all kick differently. So you've got to develop that martial art to be for you. So although I'm under Pedro Bessa, it's still my jiu-jitsu.
Still Mark Tucker jiu-jitsu.
Mark Tucker jiu-jitsu. That makes sense.
Sure, yeah.
And it's whoever you're under, although they're teaching you, it should be you're developing your skills. So when you go on to teach it is your skills, if that makes sense.
Perfect.
You know what I mean? I'm always with Pedro. I'll always go and see Pedro, and I always respect Pedro. And Pedro supports me to be that way, which I think is fantastic. You know, because some jiu-jitsu instructors aren't that way inclined.
This is the way.
This is the way. Yeah, you mean you must do as I do, and I tell myself and bow to me. But Pedro's not like that, so it's a win-win.
Perfect.
But there you go. But that's pretty much it, really.
Professor Mark.
Thank you very much.
Sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you much. Thank you for the road. Thank you.